My name is Lauren Kelly. I'm the Assistant Director and a private Pilates instructor here at Philly Power Yoga and Thrive Pilates. I just recently ran a workshop called Flexibility for Real Life, Stretch and Massage Techniques for Everyday Use. Today I'm going to spend a few minutes going over a few simple stretches for the neck, back, hips, and wrists that you can do while you're sitting at your desk, at your office, or even at home, at the dinner table, on the couch, to make sure that you can create your own flexibility for real life any time of day. Let's go ahead and begin with a very simple neck stretch, something that you probably do already. What I want you to do is take one hand and you're just going to place it across your body over towards the opposite side of your head. What you can do is you can go ahead and you can pull your head down to the side, one ear towards the shoulder. Now here's how we make this stretch a little bit more intense and more effective. If you were to reach down with your opposite hand for the bottom of your chair, you can create a little bit more tension from which to stretch the neck muscle that's going from the shoulder towards the underside of the jaw. This is a wonderful way to stretch, and if you're feeling very flexible and accomplished here, then you can stay here. If you want to increase the stretch even more, let's go ahead and just kind of slide the rib cage over slightly towards the direction that you're stretching to create even more intensity in this motion. What we can do from here is also press the head up into the hands. So you're intensely pressing the head for a few seconds. And then when you release, you'll find a new position of stretch. Going from this motion, you're going to slide your hand towards the back of your head. You're going to turn your chin towards your shoulder, your armpit. And then you're going to pull the back of your head forwards, nodding your chin or your nose towards your armpit. In this position, you can go ahead and tug on the back of the head a little bit further. Maybe even think about extending the top of the head slightly away, again to increase the intensity in the back of the neck. From this position, in order to get out, you're going to take your hand back down, bring your chin towards your breastbone, and then you want to pick your head up from the back of your neck so you don't just work a muscle that you just stretched. I'm feeling much better already. Let's do the other side. Grab onto the outside of the skull. Go ahead and drop the ear to the elbow. Reach down, holding onto the bottom of your chair. And then for more intensity, grab on and slide your ribcage over to the left. Stay in this position for a few seconds, perhaps creating intensity by pressing your head with a contraction into your hand. And then when you release, you'll find a new area of stretch. Directly from this position, slide your hand back behind your head, turn your chin towards the outside of your thigh, nod your chin down just a little bit further, and think about sending the top of your head energetically on an upwards diagonal. Stay here, take a few deep breaths, and when you're finished with this stretch, you can bring your chin forwards to the breastbone and pick your head up from the back of the neck. Next simple stretch for the back of the neck, we're going to take our hands and clasp our fingertips right behind the back of the head. Grab onto the back of the head with the heel of the hand, and when you take that position, you can actually kind of pull up through the neck a little more. You're creating more length in the spine just by doing this. We're going to close the elbows, and then use the weight of the elbows to begin to pull the chin forwards towards the center of the chest. This may be a nice, easy stretch for you to start off with, but if you want to take it a little bit more intensely, you're going to go ahead and start to drop the top of your head towards your knees, drawing the stretch into a nice C-curve for the whole spine. This will begin to stretch the spinal cord as well, so nerves, same as muscles, need to be stretched as well. Let's keep going. You can stop here and go answer a few more emails and then come back, but we're going to keep going from here. I also want to talk about the shoulder blades. So what we're going to do next is a very simple stretch. You're going to widen your feet slightly, step one foot a little bit forwards, and then flex the foot back off the floor. Take your opposite hand and reach it across for the outside of your foot. Grab onto that foot and take the opposite hand that's on the knee, and you're going to pull against your foot and push against your knee so that you have the effect much, you can really, really feel it when I stretch on a regular basis. So if you try this and you're feeling it really intensely, I recommend doing it almost every day. Good, now you can use your abdominals. Pull the navel back even further and just get into that stretch. Let's go ahead and try the other side. Sitting straight forward, step one foot, flex it back nice and firmly. With the same hand on the knee, you're going to press down firmly as you reach across for the outside of the foot. Contract your abdominals, drop your chin slightly, and pull the weight of your chest backwards away from your fingertips. If you'd like to increase the intensity of this stretch, you can also take your foot and you can press into the fingertips so that you're using your foot to drag your arm down and take that stretch into the back of the shoulder blade even deeper. Now that one is a little bit interesting to do in the office, unless you can shut your office door. So very similar to stretch to that is very simply to take one hand, place your palm right in the center of your spine, and then from this position, go ahead and take your elbow and start to turn your elbow towards your waist. As you turn your elbow towards your waist, you'll start to feel the stretch at the back of the shoulder and the back of the arm, which are exactly the muscles that get tired as you're holding up your arms and typing at your keyboard. Let's go into a few wrist stretches next. We've done the neck, we've done a little bit of the back. From here, to stretch the front of the forearm, the easiest thing to do is to make two fists, place your fists together, and then begin to press the back of your hand towards each other. Now, my wrists are pretty inflexible. I spend a lot of time at the computer too, so I'm feeling a very intense stretch. But you want to aim for getting the back of the wrist touching. Once you're in this position, you might be able to roll your fingertips back and forth a little bit. This position is just so wonderful, it's so simple, and it's something I recommend doing several times a day in order to make sure that the forearm, wrists, and elbows stay healthy. To stretch the flexors of the wrist, again, very simply, you can take your palm directly in front of you, take your opposite fingers on top, and you can begin to bend your wrist backwards. From this position, I always start with a slightly bent elbow, and I'm very deliberate about extending through my wrist instead of just popping into my elbow here, which isn't going to be as much stretch. So anytime you're stretching, take a really nice, deliberate, and slow action so that you can remain safe and make sure you're getting the most effective stretch. Let's do that on the other side. Hand forwards, palm on top, and take that extension through the wrist. Let's put the Spider-Man wrist. Wonderful. All right. So the last muscle that we want to stretch while we're sitting in our office chairs on a daily basis is into our hips. So as we're seated, of course, our posture can't be perfect all the time. We start to sink under. These muscles in the hips begin to shorten. It can cause pain in the low back, the hips, and even all the way down to the knees. You've surely seen this before, very simple. You're going to take your right leg, cross your ankle over your knee. Now, most importantly, what you want to do is make sure that you're seated up nice and tall in your chair so you can feel your sits bones, which are the two bones on the bottom of your pelvis firmly into the bottom of the chair. Take one hand onto your knee, the other hand onto your ankle. Again, I stretch every day, but I'm still pretty tight through the hips, so I'm already feeling it just by sitting up straight. The next motion that you're going to take to intensify this stretch is to begin to bring your chest forwards in space. Notice I didn't say down. We're not collapsing over the leg. You want to extend your chest forwards while extending your hips back to create a maximum amount of length in the spine. Again, if you'd like to intensify this stretch, you can flex your right foot, press down on your knee, or lift your opposite heel up for even more challenge. Take a few deep breaths here, and maybe even wiggle around a little bit. Stretching is very personal, so you should do what feels comfortable to you. Let's take this stretch on the other side. Going over the left leg, the ankle crosses over the knee. You settle in your chair, making sure that you're seated right on top of the bottom of your pelvis. One hand goes to the knee, the other goes to the ankle. We can sit up nice and tall with a proud open chest and abdominals pulling in and up, and begin to lean forwards if you feel comfortable, lengthening the spine from the top of the head down to the tailbone. I'm ready to intensify this stretch, so I'm going to press my knee down a little further. Then I'm going to flex my foot back, really feeling it now. And then from here, I'm going to go ahead and lift my heel up, draw my shoulders into my back, and just breathe into this nice, deep stretch. This is something that looks just like you're sitting at your desk, so you can do this. Hidden behind your desk, the boss will still think you're answering emails, I promise. But you're going to feel so much better at the end of the day. So that's it for our simple office stretches, going from the neck to the wrists, to the back, to the hips, less than 5 minutes a day, maybe even twice a day, and you'll start to notice that your blood flow, flexibility, and, let's see, I lost it. It's okay though.